Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scare Soldier back with another Borderlands 3 video, and in today's video we will be ranking all the Vault Hunters. Now, in our last video that we did of ranking the Vault Hunters, we essentially ranked Zane at the top of the list and Flack at the bottom. So we're going to see if any of that changes in today's video, because there has been a lot of changes to Borderlands in a positive way for the Vault Hunters. Now that a lot of things scale, like the action skills, and of course certain skills that didn't work before now work. So it's going to be interesting where we put the Vault Hunters. Now, with that being said, we have to address something real quick, and we have to ask ourselves the question of what actually makes the best Vault Hunter. What categorizes the best Vault Hunter? So for the categories we have are things like survivability, damage, usability, action skills, skill trees, weapons, class mods, mobbing, and bossing capabilities. So we're going to go through all those categories, and we're actually going to be choosing one Vault Hunter for each category just for fun. And then what we're going to do is going to be ranking the Vault Hunters at the end of the video with an explanation on why they are at the position they are at. So without further ado, let's get started to the first category. So the first category being survivability, the character that I think about right away is Zane. Zane literally has it all. He has a barrier that covers him from all areas of enemies, of course, and also he has health steal and a lot of health regeneration in not one but 3 to 2 skill trees, easily in the green tree and the red tree he has health regeneration in, which is really nice. And then obviously with the health steal. Now what the health steal provides also is that his action skills can take advantage of health steal. So if his drone or clone deal damage to an enemy, you will receive health back as well. So while you as Zane are sitting nice and comfortably in your barrier, your action skills are actually giving you back health for whenever you do take any sort of damage. So Zane for sure is one of the best characters for survivability because he has it all. He's the least vulnerable anyways in my eyes. Now, when it comes to damage, there's not one particular character that I can say does a lot of damage, because they all do a lot of damage in their own right way. Of course, to mention a couple ways, you have Flack with his bounty hunter, and of course with the fadeaway setup, he can one-shot any boss he wants to. You have Moes with her minesweeper, flipper, backburner, whatever you name it, she can absolutely obliterate enemies easily. You also have Amara with ties that bind, with other gimmicky things that Amara does. She can absolutely do a ton of damage and also break the damage cap essentially. Also for we have Zane. Zane can use a snowdrift, slide shoot, and use that speed to his advantage and do a lot of damage as well. So all the characters have their own means of destruction. So next category we have usability, and for usability I mean a character you can just casually pick up and play and easily be good with. So that category for me goes to Moes right away. Moes is just an all-around very complete character. Moes offers ammo regeneration, she does a ton of damage, her skill trees are all very complete. You can pretty much spec in many places her skill tree and not go wrong because all her capstones are viable. So Moes is very easy, plus she has a ton of weapons to use, especially with all the DLCs and stuff, providing ton of guns with splash damage, and of course rocket launchers being a very high powerful weapon. Moes can be one of the best characters to use rocket launchers. So Moes overall is just an easy character to pick up and play with. Now, when it comes to skill trees and action skills, we'll start with action skills. For action skills, I'm going to say one word about that, and I'm going to say ties that bind, and I'm going to leave it there. You guys who play Amara know what I'm talking about. Now, when it comes to skill trees, this one's easy for me. It's going to be between Amara and Moes, because all three of their skill trees are very complete. They all offer a lot of damage. They all offer good perks and usable perks at that. You can pretty much fill out the whole skill tree if you wanted to, because there's so many options. And again, all the capstones on Moes or Amara are very usable as well for a different build, so versatility is there. But overall, I would give the slight edge to Moes because of her red tree as well, which is extremely good for a deathless setup, and just provides so much extra stuff in there. But again, it can go either way. It's a tough decision. Now, when it comes to class mods, this one's really easy actually. First of all, the worst character for class mods is Zane by far. He has one class mod being the Seen Dead, so that kind of sucks for him. But For the top character would be Moes as well, because pretty much every single class mod she has in the game, whether it be from a DLC or not from a DLC, is pretty much really good. She has things like the Minesweeper, Blastmaster, Green Monster, Sapper, Rocketeer, Raging Bear, which are good now because a lot of people use Iron Bear and stuff like that, so it's usable. And she just has a ton of means. She also has the Bloodletter, so she has a ton of great class mods. Flack would be second for me in that category because he also has a lot of good class mods like the Bounty Hunter, Cosmic Stalker, Red Fang, Stackbot, all that good stuff. And then Amara would be near the end of the bottom for me because she only pretty much uses Spiritual Driver or Phase Zerker for most builds that we all see with Amara. So when it comes to weapon choices, I feel like Moes can pick up most weapons in the game and do a ton of damage with. For sure, she can basically pick up almost any rocket launcher in the game, any splash damage weapon. And if you guys have not played DLC 3 yet, DLC 3 has a ton of splash damage weapons, so Moes completely takes advantage of that. Also, I would say Amara's up there as well. She can use pretty much a lot of weapons as well. And then Flack, he pretty much has a lot of Jacobs and Vladoff weapons. And then at the bottom would be Zane because he's kind of like limited in his own way, in my opinion anyways. Now, when it comes to mobbing, I can't necessarily give it to one character. It depends what you're talking about when it comes to mobbing, because Moes can absolutely obliterate a mob with her splash damage or area of effect with any yellow cake in the game. She's a beast. Also, Plague Bearers and stuff like that are going to be good with a Minesweeper or Blastmaster, and Moes can destroy mobs very, very easily, I assure you of that. I think she has some of the fastest times to kill the mobs because she has so much splash damage radius, so she can deal damage to a huge group of enemies because of that radius. Other than that, I would also say Amara with Ties That Bind can destroy mobs extremely easily. And also, if you're talking about speed runs, I would say Zane is up there as well because Zane is so fast. He can literally run through takedowns very, very easily with a barrier and a redistributor, and he is all set. So I say the only lacking character for mobbing out of all of them is Flack because he relies on ricochets from Jacob's weapons to get additional enemies. If not, you're kind of stuck to getting one target at a time unless you get some ricochets in your advantage with Jacob's weapons. Or you can use a Plague Bearer with Flack as well if you wanted to with a 3-shot fadeaway. That's also definitely a viable option. But just naturally, I think Moes, Amara, and Zane are better for mobbing. Now, when it comes to bossing, I mean, this is kind of like the damage category. I can't give it to one character because they all have their means of destruction. Again, Flack can one-shot bosses just as easily as Moes. And same thing with Amara and Zane. They all have their means. Zane can snowdrift his way to one-shotting enemies with backburners. Amara is Amara with her Ties That Bind and other gimmicky things she does. Flack, Bounty Hunter, simple fadeaway, and you're good to go. You can even use this Cosmic Stalker because Flack is so beast against bosses. And then Moes with a Minesweeper is just incredible. So they're all very good for bossing. So when it comes to the final ranking right here on where we're going to determine which Vault Hunter goes where, this is the hardest part for me. So I want to make it clear that every single Vault Hunter is amazing. There's no worse Vault Hunter, but we do have to put them somewhere on the list out of 4. So we have to make this really, really picky because all the characters can solo the hardest content in the game. So we have to be picky when we're doing this. So some of these reasons may be like, that's kind of a weird reason to put that person here, but we have to be like that because all the characters are very good now. So at the bottom of the list, and it didn't change from my last video, is Flack. The main problem with Flack that every other character does better than him is survivability. Flack has to work twice as hard as any other character to stay alive. He has to use shields like Frozen Heart shields or stopgaps with action skill start to keep himself alive and spam racks as much as he can to keep himself alive, especially in a guardian takedown situation when there's a ton of enemies. He also has absolutely no health steal in his skill tree, which every other character possesses, which is literally is the best way of staying alive is health steal by just shooting an enemy and getting health back is just the easiest way, and he does not have that, which is kind of his downfall. And he's also an easy target at times too because he's quite slow. So again, with the combination of no health steal and being a slow character, he has to ease himself into mobs. He can't just run into a mob like a Zane or Amara or even Moes for that matter. He has to be careful and pick and choose his gunfights and where to go and where not to, or else he's going to be down all the time and your pet is going to be there reviving you. Now, yes, with Flack, you can do a Gamma Burst build. in retaliation and be like, well, Scare Soldier, you can do a Gamma Burst build with Flack with Red Fang. Yes, you can do that, but by doing that, you are going to be sacrificing some gun damage, unfortunately. Now, the most of the damage for Flack comes from his Hunter and Stalker skill trees, and by speccing into the blue tree for Flack, you will be losing some points that can provide more gun damage for Flack. So, unfortunately for Flack, you have to give up a little bit of gun damage for more survivability, whereas every other character does not have to do that. So that's my biggest knock on Flack. Other than that, he's a beast. Now, in the third position, this is my opinion, guys, and I actually would like a debate in the comments, because here is my thing with the third place position, because this can go either from 3 to 1 real quick. So I'll name the person right here because I know some people are going to be mad, but I have to say it because it's been bothering me for a while now, and it's Amara. Amara is in the third place position for me. The reason why she's in the third place position for me is because she's a gimmicky character. Now, she can do some of the most impressive things that I've seen any Vault Hunter be able to do in the game, with the amount of exploits she can do, with the amount of interaction she has with things like Groundbreaker, her Remnant Orbs, her Ties That Bind. There's so many different interactions that Amara does that breaks the game, which for me is almost like, in a sense, cheating. Because if you take some of those gimmicks away from Amara and you just play Amara with a normal weapon and use a bit of Ties That Bind here and there, she doesn't feel as powerful as advertised. Like, I'm sure a lot of people are kind of brainwashed by watching Moxie do all these impressive things on his videos and one-shot bosses by just phase grasping or just doing a melee build. But first of all, those builds are extremely dependent on understanding the character as a whole, and the majority of Borderlands players barely know how all these interactions work. So it takes a lot of time to understand Amara, which is one of the biggest downfalls. Like, her skill tree can get complex at times if you do not understand what certain things do, what certain interactions do, and all that stuff. So she could be a tricky character to understand. She could be a hit or miss, because believe me, when I first started playing with Amara, I'm like, man, what's the Amara hype? Everybody's going crazy on her. And I picked her up and I started to play her, and I'm like, she's not even that good. But what made her good was when I learned how to do certain interactions and gimmicks and exploits, which actually made her one of the best characters in the game. So you can argue with me all you want, but for me, that doesn't suit what I would fit as the best character in the game by using gimmicks and other exploits and interactions that shouldn't even exist, really. Ties That Bind's cool because it's her action skill augment, which is fine. I have no problem with Ties That Bind, and Ties That Bind is actually more balanced in its own way because it does have a cooldown, and if you do actually phase grasp an enemy, you have to wait a couple seconds to get it back, so there is some sort of balance there. But also, just the playstyle of the character at times can get a little bit annoying by always having a fake phase grasp to proc certain bonuses for Amara and stuff like that can get annoying, that kind of playstyle as well. So just overall, the fact that she's more of a gimmicky character kind of turns me off from her, because it kind of makes me it pulls me between, is she really good, or is it just because she's kind of cheating? So I don't know where to put her. I can put her at number 1 spot because she breaks damage cap with certain builds, which pretty much almost no other character can do in the game. So you can put Amara at your 1 spot, but for me, because she's more of a gimmicky character, and I'm kind of questioning whether she can do it on her own or it's because she simply is just breaking the game, which is not intentional, then I have to put Amara at 3rd. If it is intentional and that's how Gearbox does things, then okay, she's number 1. But that's where I put her right now. So when it comes to the 2nd position, I have to give it to Zane. As hard as it is for me, because I am a Zane main, for the most part, Zane, what he lacks is versatility. I have to dock him on that because, like, you're stuck with one class mod with Zane. He's so boring at a point. Like, it's like you kind of veer off the character. Once you get the character down packed and you get the right anointment on your weapons, you put a barrier sentinel on, you're good to go. It's kind of boring to play him. You just have pretty much a Seen Dead, because why would you use anything else? Nothing even compares to the Seen Dead as a class mod. Zane's artifacts are also very little. He has literally an Icebreaker or a Snowdrift. Those are his main, most popular options, which I find is kind of also boring. His skill tree, his green tree, is also quite crap. Half of that skill tree automatically is pretty much busted, and pretty much everybody who specs into the green tree, it's the same 3 perks. It's Brain Freeze, the Ready for Action, and then Competent Competence. It's always the same build, so you're always seeing the same builds with Zane, and it's quite boring at the same time. And that's my main complaints with Zane. Other than that, if you take away that stuff, Zane is a beast, guys. Believe me. If you want to do speed runs, if you want to wipe through enemies extremely quickly, and you also want to just be a beast on the battlefield, like from a run and gun perspective, Zane is your man. His clone is incredibly strong. His clone can literally take on Wotan by himself and kill Wotan very fast. You can also use the clone to revive yourself if ever you do go down. There's so many things you can do in that regard with Zane. His damage is quite limited, but unlimited at the same time, with the combination of Speed Demon, Snowdrift, Slide Shooting your back burner with Violent Momentum is just crazy, the amount of damage he can do as a character. So he has the best survivability out of all the characters. That's number one. He can also one-shot bosses very well, and he's also extremely good at mobbing, and he's just an easy character to pick up and use. Although he is quite boring, you have to admit he is a very, very all-around good character. So that is why I have to give Zane a good one. And he doesn't use gimmicks he just does a lot of DPS. That's based on his Hitman tree. So pretty cool stuff. Now, lastly, obviously, it's no brainer now. We have Moes. Moes is one of my favorite characters in the game. After I got bored of playing Zane because I pretty much was stuck with the scene dead, Moes became one of my favorite characters. It's just so fun seeing a character be able to kill enemies with grenades, be able to blow up the map with all her splash damage, her area of effect, her splash damage radius. She is so strong. With the flipper, with Minesweeper, she can literally crap on enemies so easily. So she can one-shot easily mobs with a yellow cake with a Minesweeper. She can one-shot bosses extremely easily. She can kill anything in the game very easily. Those buddy systems, any element she can deal with. Her skill trees are very complete. All her skill trees are good. You can use any perk in them. You can use all the capstones, which gives you versatile amount of builds. Unlike Zane, she has a ton of class mods. Almost every single class mod she has is viable and you can use. She also, like I said, can use grenades to kill people. So if you want to try out some grenades, Moes is one of the best characters to try out grenades on because she can actually kill people with them and do a lot of damage. And overall, she can also do things that obviously another character cannot do, which is regenerate ammo. It is very annoying when you're doing a big takedown, like the Guardian takedown, and you have to throw on a cup purse to get ammo back some way, somehow. But with Moes, she can infinitely shoot some of the best weapons in the game, and it's little things like that that separates the best from the bottom anyways, because little things that you don't realize, like ammo is very important. She gives you that luxury of never having to reload or worry about ammo. She also has Health Steal. Like I said, her damage is unquestionable, the amount of damage Moes can do. And overall, she's just a fun character. It's just fun seeing shit blow up. And she's complete. Her action skill is also very good. Iron Bear is good. You can literally solo a Guardian takedown with her action skill and just go inside a robot and kill things. So as a whole, Moes is very complete. The main thing she lacks is movement speed. She's extremely slow, so she can be an easy target if you're not spamming grenades. And then that leads me to, if you do not know how to play Moes well, you can run into trouble with survivability. If you're not careful with a Minesweeper, you can kill yourself with that splash damage. So you just have to be careful. But if you know how to play her, she's an extremely easy character to use. Anybody can pick her up and do well with, which is why she has to be at the top with all fairness being said. So that is my ranking for the Vault Hunters, guys. Let me know what you thought about my Amara comments about her. If you just think that, no, it's part of the game, she should be number one, that's fine by me, guys. I respect anybody's comments, but come on, if you guys really think about it, Amara is kind of gimmicky in her own way. Plus, she lost her best gun, which is the recursion as well, so her ricochets are not even as strong. So she's really relying hardcore on Ties That Bind and other exploits and interactions of the game to really make herself work. Because if you just put a regular gun on her and you just use Ties That Bind, you just feel like she's kind of a Zane without a barrier, and that's pretty much that. So anyways, guys, that's my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. It's your boy Scare Soldier signing out. Peace.